Hey! Today we're gonna be ranking every single hex perk in all of Dead by Daylight, and, well, because no one likes long intros, let's get straight to the chase and start with place number 13. Place number 13 goes to Hex Thrill of the Hunt, and to make it really simple, if you run many totems, if you run many hex perks, you might be thrilled to run the... okay. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. So what does that perk even do? For each remaining totem in the trial, you gain a 10% action speed penalty per token to cleansing and blessing, up to 50%, saying that cleansing a hex totem could take, instead of 14 seconds, 21 seconds, but then this time goes down for each totem that is cleansed. And I don't really know, there are like so many better ways to delay your game, right? There's so many better perks to delay your game, and then on top, Undying exists. If you want to protect your hex totems, then just play Undying. Just go for Undying. Just play something completely different, right? I don't know. Hex Thrill of the Hunt for me is the weakest perk, and there's nothing else to add. Yeah, there are bonus blood points, but let's face it, no one plays this perk for bonus blood points anyway. And also, it needs other perks to actually work. If you only run one other hex totem, Thrill of the Hunt won't be worth it. If you only run two other hex totems, Thrill of the Hunt is a little more worth it, but still not enough. And if you run 3 hex totems, you can consider running Hex Thrill of the Hunt, but yet again, just run something completely else. Place number 12 is Huntress Lullaby, and Huntress Lullaby is an okay perk, but it also needs like much perks to go along with it. So basically the regression penalty for failed skill checks is higher. It goes up by 6%, and for each hooked survivor you gain 1 token. Each token makes the warning sound of a skill check like lesser, so you can like have a little lesser reaction time until at 5 tokens the warning sound is completely disabled. This perk works on like 1 or 2 killers pretty good. Like Doctor has some good builds with skill checks, because his when you are in madness, the skill check bar like moves around. And Freddy, he has also like builds where you lose up to, I don't know, 25% per failed skill check, so that's like also very good. But on the other side, Huntress Lullaby falls short of almost everything else. You need perks to run it with, you need specific killers to actually make it useful, and on the other side, it is not good against people who just focus on the game very much. They could literally ignore this perk and still be able to fail no skill checks whatsoever. So I'd say against solo guys, against guys who are streaming maybe, that's okay, but it is still, I mean, it falls short of everything that is to come. Huntress Lullaby, it deserves 12th place, but I need to say, I kind of like that perk. Moving on with place number 11 is the Third Seal. And I need to say one thing, for this video, I've played every hex perk on stream yesterday. And how do I say that? I didn't play the Third Seal ever in my life, and I needed to place it in this list somewhere. It's 11th, everything is fine. You basically, when you hit a survivor, he suffers from the blindness status effect. And I couldn't place that anywhere else but here, because I think Thrill of the Hunt is worse. Huntress Lullaby against good survivors that actually care, or actually like focus on the game, it's not very effective. And then you have Third Seal, which has its upside against people who are not good at the game, right? When you play against people that are newer to the game, they could suffer from this perk very much. On the other side, if you're playing against survivor friends, if you're playing against a comp team, for example, if they're blind, that doesn't matter. They talk to one another and completely navigate around their blindness, and maybe they don't even need to cleanse their totem whatsoever, because Third Seal does little to no effect. With that being said, outside of my top 10 on place 11 is Third Seal. Inside our top 10 on place number 10 is Hex Crowd Control, and I think the entity blocks like rushed window bolts for 20 seconds, and I think that perk is pretty okay. But on the other side, yet again, other perks work better, like just play Bamboozle. You don't have a hex perk, so it can't be cleansed, and I think there are like other perks that simply work better for what you want to do. Also, then on some maps there are not like many winners. There's like another perk that's coming, it's Blood Favour, right? It's coming like later, but I think like this is like way better than actually playing Crowd Control. I can see Crowd Control will like work on the Shack window, or definitely on some very strong loops, but it's like also very situational where we can like actually make it make a perk. Also, let's face it, crowd control makes survivors W key even more. And is W keying even fun? Like pressing W all the time and taking the chases elsewhere every time? I don't really know. So yeah, crowd control is on place number 10. It's okay, but yet again, overshadowed by another perk, right? So yeah, that's it. Next up on the list is Hex Retribution, and Hex Retribution, basically when any totem is cleansed or blessed, the Oblivious status effect is applied for 45 seconds to that survivor, and after a Hex totem is destroyed in any way or form, all auras of all survivors will be revealed to you for 15 seconds. And I've seen so many gameplays and so many world records actually where Hex Retribution was playing a vital role. However, I think this perk is too situational. There's a perk coming up pretty soon that also applies the Oblivious status effect to survivors, and I think that just does it way better. And in some cases or another, sometimes these 15 seconds auto ring can't be put into use very good, especially when you think about you're in a chase at the moment, right? And then you maybe win that mind game, but what comes after that? Have you tracked where everyone is? Highly doubt that. Anyway, place number 9 goes to Hex Retribution. On place number 8, we find Ruin, and I think I have to justify for that a little bit. So, with the 6.1 update, the regression speed of 200% went down to 100%, and now new to this perk, when a survivor is killed by any means, the perk just simply deactivates. That doesn't need a totem to be cleansed, right? When one guy is dead, the perk simply is gone. And I think, yeah, there are better alternatives at the moment. There are definitely better alternatives than Ruin. Run Pop, run Color Brian, 200% regression speed, and you get a notification when someone is back on their gen. And I simply think taking the time to kick it shouldn't be that much of a problem. So I'm sorry, but I don't see Ruin as strong as it was anymore. So yeah, an A place for Ruin. Place number 7, and dead in the middle, is Hex Haunted Grounds. And I need to say this, Hex Haunted Grounds is dead in the middle because it's either hit or miss. There are 2 Hex totems spawn in a trial, and one of them is destroyed, cleansed, or blessed. The exposed status effect gets inflicted on any survivor for 60 seconds, and the second totem then turns back into a dull totem. When this Haunted Grounds is cleansed in the right moment, this can definitely define your game and make it so much easier. However, if that's not the case, and if you're playing against smart survivors, or if you're in a chase with a guy that's already injured and you can't put the 60 seconds effectively into use, that totem is simply, or that perk rather, is simply useless. So as I said, Haunted Grounds is probably one of my favorite perks to run, but because it's so satisfying when you get good use out of it. But as I said, the chance that you actually get good use out of it is likely above this 50% mark, right? So a little bit above. So yeah, place number 7 goes to Haunted Grounds. Now place number 6 is Hex Plaything, and Hex Plaything is arguably one of the most annoying Hex perks to go on against. The hooked survivor suffers from the Cursed and Oblivious status effect until Hex Plaything is cleansed. For the first 90 seconds, only the Cursed survivor is able to cleanse the Hex totem, and the aura of that Hex totem is visible through walls for the Cursed survivor only in a 16-meter range. And this one is absolutely brutal, because you now have to decide whether you want to stay oblivious and actually don't have a terror radius whatsoever, or whether you actually want to go on a hunt and search that Hex totem. And sometimes that means you have to walk around the whole map. Yes, seeing your totem through the walls, 60 meters, right, in a 60-meter range, that makes it a whole lot easier. But it's still very hard in order to do that, and only after 90 seconds your mates can jump in and actually help you on that hunt. Hex Plaything can actually be a good regression perk despite not even being a regression perk. It can actually delay the game, almost a bit like the pig traps, if you want to say it like that. So Hex Plaything, a deserved 6th place. Place number 5 is Hex Pentimento. You see all the hours of destroyed and cleansed totems, and each totem you can now rekindle, and with each rekindling of the totem you get like buffs to that perk, meaning after you've rekindled one totem, the survivor's repair speed is lowered by 30%, meaning that instead of 90 seconds, we now need 2 whole minutes in order to do a gen. Then the second totem decreases the survivor's healing speed. The third totem decreases the survivor's recovery speed. The fourth totem decreases the survivor's exit gate opening. And the fifth totem blocks all totems by the end. All totems are kind of like blocked by the entity, right? And this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Okay, yeah, you never get to 5 totems. I've never got to 4. Even 3 are so unlikely. But I love to play this perk as a big hold up, right? I love to play this perk as a delaying of things. And actually having these 30% gen progression penalty mid game and actually like a bit towards late game, that is so insane. It actually gave me so much and actually won me so many games. This right here, right now in this moment, is probably a popularity contest, and I am well aware of that. But Hex Pentimento is one of the best perks in my opinion. Also, all these perks need to be cleansed as well. All the totems that you rekindle need to be cleansed again. Like, isn't that insane? That delays the game so much. So it deserves 5th place to one of my favorite darlings, Hex Pentimento. Place number 4 is the noob's favorite perk. It's No One Escapes Death. And let's face it, we all have been in that situation, that wanted a situation where we are the survivor. We're fully healed, our adrenaline just kicked in like lovely stuff, and then an M1 happens and you just go down and die, and it's so nice. And then your mates don't know totem spawns and you die, and yeah. I mean, despite the 6.1 update, you now see, similar to Plaything by the way, you now see the totem in a upgoing speed, right? The totem radius, so where the totem is located, and up to, I don't know, 24 meters now. This perk has been hurt because of that, right? But it's still such a good perk. In the end, it's definitely a crutch, and with Know It, you can almost definitely can make a comeback if you know how to play your endgame. With that being said, you can suck, but still get a kill. Know It is our place number 4. Let's get to place number 3, and let's get to Hex Blood Favour. Whenever a survivor loses a health state by any means and thus enters the injured state or the dying state, Blood Favour calls upon the entity to block pellets within a 32 meter range for the next 15 seconds. And if you play this on the right killer, you absolutely have something in your hand. I played this on Trickster, for example, with Undying, and let me tell you, this is simply insane. Yeah, you can say Hex Blood Favour is kind of like the counterpart to Crowd Control, if you really want to say it, but why is Blood Favour this far up and Crowd Control this far down? Because if he rushes a vault, he can just press W in Crowd Control, this is blocked, and you just need to follow him up. But when you think about Blood Favour, if you hit him in the right angle, where does he want to go? And also, pellets are more present on maps than windows most of the time, so Blood Favour is definitely better. I like it on Blight, I like it on my Trickster, I also play it sometimes on Huntress, and let me tell you, not needing to deal with pellets, yeah, that you don't have the need to take chases for longer is so nice. Blood Favour is my top 3 perk. Blood Favour takes home the bronze medal, and I fell in love with it so long ago. So thank you very much, Blood Favour, for being a part of my life, I guess. Place number 2, and therefore the silver medal goes to one of the most satisfying perks, and that perk is Devour Hope. Each time a survivor is rescued from a hook, when you're at least 24 meters away, Devour Hope receives 1 tokens, and then the tokens all do different stuff. At 2 tokens, you get 10 seconds after hooking the survivor, a 5% has status effect. At 3 tokens, and now Devour Hope really starts to shine, the survivors suffer permanently from the exposed status effect, and at 5 tokens, you are able to Mori someone instantly. Even the guy who was hiding all game, even the Dwight, even that little Dwight who you haven't seen all game can now be killed. Right, sometimes Devour Hope doesn't come to shine because it gets cleansed early and all that stuff, but that's like kind of the risk that you take with with every Hex perk that comes up against. But man, oh man, let me tell you, Devour Hope can be a game changer. It is your mid-game node, if you will, and it can turn into one of the most insane and oppressive perks in the game if the survivors don't find their totem, and even if they find it, they've wasted enough time to actually go on about things. I just need to say that Devour Hope, if you get that 5th stack going, and if you kill one survivor by your own hand, and even if it's just one survivor, all the effort was worth it. And also, Devour Hope supports a gaming method that is really, really nice. Like, you need to go away from hooks, let them unhook, you know what I'm saying? Devour Hope even supports, like, the best playstyle in the game. So, how could you not like that? And how could you not place it anywhere but in a 2nd place? And place number 1 goes to Hex Undying. And let's face it, let's make it really, really simple to round this off here. Hex Undying is literally a 2nd life to your Hex perk. It's basically every perk you could run with Hex Undying, and you have a 2nd life, so it lives longer. I mean, how could that not be place 1? Also, there's the Adult Totem thing, right? So when a survivor standing in front of a Adult Totem, you see his aura. That's a nice topping, right? But let's face it, a 2nd life and more value out of your normal Hex Totem is one of the best things you can have in this game. So Hex Undying a deserved place 1. Okay, and there we have it, all Hex perks ranked in DVD. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know down below in the comments. And also, if you don't want to miss any future content, make sure to hit that bell and subscribe to my channel, because one of the next videos we will find out which killer is most fun to play. We're currently doing research at Twitch, twitch.tv/modernagony. So if you want to be part of the research, go check out my streams. And with that being said, I sign off now. See you guys in the next one.